Welcome back to SB Nation. I'm Amy K. Nelson. I'm here with Bomani Jones, Andrew Sharp, and Dan Grunfeld. And guys, the New Orleans Hornets picking Anthony Davis #1 overall, no secret whatsoever. But number 10, we weren't sure what they were going to do. They went with Austin Rivers, perhaps one of the most polarizing players in this year's draft. What did you think of the pick?
I personally like the pick a lot. I mean, Austin Rivers is a guy who is really polarizing right now. He has a big attitude. Some people call it an ego. Not a bad attitude, just a big one. He's very competitive, and some people say he's cocky, but at the same time, he's such a gifted player, and he's still a young guy. He's 20 years old, only completed 1 year of college. So I think it's a great pick. You know, he has a lot of upside, and to team him with Anthony Davis, they could be like a really good duo.
I gotta be honest, I am not a huge Austin Rivers fan. I think watching him in college, he reminded me of sort of like a poor man's Kobe, which a poor man's Kobe is basically Nick Young. And the New Orleans Hornets just drafted Nick Young to be a point guard, which I don't think is gonna work out so well. And I just think the way his game, it just doesn't really make sense to me. I think he could have been successful in certain situations. I will say, though, that I watched him work out two or 3 weeks ago, and I got to see him interview, and as cocky as he seems, he's actually sort of well-spoken and seems like a pretty good guy. So maybe he can turn it around, and maybe he can work out well with Anthony Davis.
Right, the dilemma. He is a gifted soloist. That's where the Kobe comparisons come. There are few soloists as good as him. Is he a point guard? Well, the hard part about saying that after going to Duke was who was he going to pass the ball to? He was the only guy there that could really get his own shot. Other than Mason Plumlee was the other guy, and he had his issues while he was there. Can this work? Well, the Thunder just got to the finals with Russell Westbrook at point guard, and in spite of what anybody said, they wouldn't have gotten there if Russell Westbrook was not the point guard. So he will be able to run the pick and roll. I think that's clear. We're going to see how well he can play defense. But for the number 10 pick in the draft, let's not forget, at best, you're normally going to get a rotation player at number 10. That's a big talent to get at number 10. If it doesn't work, it's somebody you might be able to move. But I'm willing to look at it as maybe this could work. But I don't think he's a point guard either.
Well, you say he's a soloist. Like, you have to be real gifted to be able to be a soloist in the NBA.
But for the first time, he'll be on the court with other players that are as good, if not better than him. And
True.
what we don't know is whether he'll pass the ball if there's a compelling reason.
And if he can work with Eric Gordon, then it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, I mean,
they could be kind of dangerous in the backcourt.
I think you can put two combo guards together. They have somewhat similar games. I mean, Gordon is definitely a two guard, but he can do some of those other things. The only thing about them, I don't see them stopping anybody defensively with those two guys in the backcourt.
It helps to have Davis, though.
It does. That's basically what it is. We got Anthony Davis. We can get a guy here that don't play no defense.
Is his attitude, his cockiness, is that going to be a hindrance to him and to any team he goes to?
The reason I don't think so is we all expected, and living in North Carolina, that was the story. Austin Rivers and Mike Krzyzewski. That was the ultimate clash. There were no fireworks. It didn't go over badly. There were no blow-ups. There wasn't anything that you saw within that team. Now, guys on other teams, I've never seen a player more disliked by his opponents than Austin Rivers.
I think that's a good thing.
But they're not necessarily
You think it's a good thing?
Yeah, as a player,
Why?
usually you dislike guys who are really good. You know, and I think...
Yeah, but they like him. He's really good and he whines a lot. I mean, the criticisms of Rivers' personality, there's something to be said
no
for
doubt.
that. But I think, guys, I haven't seen anything to indicate the guys can't get along with him.
Right, and I think that's a great point. And if he wasn't supremely talented and didn't have such confidence, he wouldn't rub guys the wrong way. And I think, you know, you have to have that going into the next level. And I think that's going to help him, assuming he can get along with his teammates, and we haven't seen that he can.
Well, and you were saying, we were talking during the draft, it's like, Doc Rivers is such a good guy and does things the right way. The apple can't fall that far from the tree.
Well, actually, it can.
You think so?
There's always the possibility that it can.
I mean,
At least he has good guidance.
Kobe.
At least he has good guidance.
Kobe's
in his
very
corner.
different, so.
Right. Well, bottom line, though, going ahead into next year, what are the realistic expectations for this team?
I think they can win about 40, 42 games. I mean, I think that's possible. Not necessarily likely to happen, but they had injury problems this year. Eric Gordon only played 9 games, and your best player only plays 9 games. Your record is a bit skewed.
Well, yeah, I think also Monty Williams can coach, and he did a great job this year with a team that had no business being as decent as they were. They weren't good, but they were decent, and I think add Davis, they could probably win 35 games. I don't see them making the playoffs.
You don't see them making the playoffs?
No.
No.
What about you?
I think it's hard to put a number on how many games a team will win, but I think
Especially
they'll be
tonight.
Yeah, especially tonight. But they'll be improved without a doubt. but these guys are still really young, and this is the NBA, you know? So I don't think it's fair to expect them to come in and win right away. And I don't think New Orleans is expecting that, you know, because these guys are going to develop and grow so much. But their upside is big, and I think in their future looks really bright.
Okay, well, we want to know what you think. Austin Rivers, good pick at number 10 or not? Will the Hornets make the playoffs next year? Yes or no? Tell us in the comments below. Subscribe up above. Don't forget to do it. And we'll see you next time.